We are live, and Wilson was planning on going to the store since Wednesday. What happened?
I've been planning to go to the store since Wednesday because it was like one of those deals where, not a deal, but it was one of those situations where it's like, I'm almost done with my whole week's work. That if I get it done early enough, I may have Wednesday kind of okay, where I can go out and go
Ah,
shopping and get my books early. And it didn't happen. I don't know if I just woke up and I decided, I'm just going to work and then just enjoy the rest of the day at home. And then Tuesday was the last day to get everything done. And if I got it all done, Friday would be a day off technically. And it
yep.
was.
All
So
right.
so I was like, all right. So last night I was thinking, okay, I technically have Friday off. I could get to the store early, shop around, and do what I want in the city. Then I
Yeah.
realized I woke up, it's like I don't have much to do today. I don't have to rush anything today. Let me just enjoy myself. So I got out of bed when I wanted to get out of bed. It was like I'm jumping out of bed to run and do stuff. I got out of bed. I checked the emails, checked all the work stuff to make sure there was no problems. Like I'm going to make some breakfast. And I took my time and made some breakfast. And I was like, all right, now I'm going to just look on the internet for a few minutes. Okay, let me go shower, dry off, and just relax. And then I look at the time. It's like, well, I'm not going to get to the shop when it opens. That's for sure. And then by the time I got myself together and left, I think I got to the shop at about 1. But it was like it was nice to not have to run around. And also, my subways are the subway nearest to me that I enjoy taking to get to the comic book shop because it's a straight shot. Is the 4 train, but they're like redoing their tracks during the day,
Ah,
so it's skipping a bunch of stops. And it
yeah.
got far enough away. It's like I can either go take the Metro North, but that's an extra half an hour walk, which I don't mind. But it's that
Mm-hmm.
timing that if I got 8 minutes to get there or an hour to get there. So it's like I'm in that between. So it's like I just took one of the other subways and went down that way and
Here.
got to the shop and got some stuff.
Are you guys on earlier these days? Normally, it used to start at 11 p.m. UK time. We changed the clocks here in the US of A a few
Yeah,
weeks ago, at the beginning of March, right?
yeah.
Yes.
You guys usually we usually have a 2 week difference. You guys change your clocks 2 weeks ahead of us, but this year it's 3 weeks.
Uh,
So we're we're finally changing the clocks this
yeah.
weekend, but we're still on a 4 hour difference to the from
So we're
GMT to the East Coast.
Wilson and I are still here at the same time locally,
Yeah, I'm the
but
Right.
one
the
who's an hour
time
earlier.
changed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm the only one who's an hour earlier because I'm in Europe. But apart from
Yep,
that,
yep. So you made it to the store.
I made it to the store and I have 3 weeks worth of books.
Wow.
So it's like, ooh, a good amount of
And
stuff to catch up with.
mhm.
the
And I
last
picked up some
2
stuff
weeks
off
for
the
me
shelf.
have been big weeks. I think I had like 10 last week and 11 this week, plus a free ash can.
The Yeah, the last week's I know was a big one because I don't really look for what's coming in. I kind of
Uh-huh,
like the surprise. I get a hint of when I
right,
get told, "Oh, my card has been charged." And a normal time period is like, oh, 1 or 2 books. But the
right.
last few has been close to like 5 books.
Ah,
And um and some of them are these Godzilla one shots, which are pretty expensive. There was Funny enough, when I pulled some books off the shelves, there was some sticker shock
yeah.
to them
Oh,
of the ones I chose. And it's like, I chose these,
uh, let me tell
but
you about some
there's some sticker shock.
I'll tell you about sticker shock in a moment. First, we'll say,
Mm.
Captain Finity, how you doing? Love the fact that
Hello.
every country changes their clocks in their different weeks for extra frustration. Except for
Think of that as
Arizona, they never change their clocks.
but think of that as time travel.
Yeah.
But
Our
it's just
clocks here
inconvenient.
fall back, and not for another fall week. Fall week.
Yeah,
No,
even
they spring forward, right?
when the UK when the UK was in the European Union, we all changed our clocks at the same time. But now that they're not, they don't. Here's the thing: about 2 years ago, they had announced that the European Union was going to get rid of daylight savings time this year. They didn't. Not only did they not get rid of daylight savings time, they have no idea when it's going to happen, nor are they very interested in doing it.
They said the same thing here in the States.
That's why they have no idea when it's going to happen, because they're not interested in doing it.
Exactly. We're told that it's going to happen here, but they cannot decide where the time is going to be. Are we staying with savings?
Yeah.
Or whatever the other one's called. So it's like
standard.
Standard. So it's like just it's called standard for a reason.
And it takes an act of Congress to change it.
Yes. I personally don't mind it being lighter at night.
Yeah.
I kind of like that. To me, and I think that's a safety issue. Oh,
yeah, but
it's 8 o'clock and there's still light out. I kind of like that. When it's 5 o'clock and it's already dark, and you got to race that. Not that you have to get home before dark, but it just seems like I got into the subway and it was light time. Now I'm home and it's dark. It's a little weird.
But the problem is in the winter, because if you stay with daylight savings time during the winter, sun doesn't come up until 9 a.m.
Yeah. I'm okay with that.
No, but
you know what? But I do work from home, so that doesn't bother me. That's why I'm okay with it. I understand other people. Yes.
Also, you two are artists. That means you're bohemians. You don't care about what time of day it is.
Time, man. It's just a construct.
It's a concept, man.
Yeah, you should.
Like
I'm an artist.
You're
an artist. You work when you guys work when the muse strikes.
Yes, I used to try to get away with that, and one of my writer friends was like, "Oh, you want Muse?" So he had made a bat, and it says on it Muse. So Muse is going to strike any time now.
Dr. Finn, he's giving us a history lesson. Daylight savings time was introduced by the Germans in WW1. My understanding is that WW1 is over.
Also, the Germans lost, so we don't have to do what they want.
Wow, just got an eBay package. 24 variants of Adam Hughes, Betty and Veronica #1, plus 15 other comics. Wow. All at $225, a lucky bid. Yeah.
Damn.
Wow.
That is a lucky bid.
Wait, even Archie is doing multiple variants?
Oh, they've been doing them for a decade.
Yeah, almost everyone's doing it. Now it's like, who does the least?
A lot of them aren't cheap too. I was just because we were talking about what's his name, Andrew Papoy last week, who's now Margot Papoy. I was looking up some of his variants on eBay last week just to see, because there's that one I really like that I've had forever, and a lot of the variants you do go for $20-$30. I was like, holy, or at least they're looking for $20-$30. I didn't look up what they actually sold for if anyone was buying them, but I was just like, whoa.
Okay.
2.5. I think 2.25 a piece is what he meant, I would guess.
He pressed the percent sign instead of the dollar sign.
Yep.
Because they're next to each other.
They're right next to each other on the keyboard. Yeah. Speaking of alternate covers, if you guys wouldn't mind me doing a quick commercial.
Go right ahead.
So one of the books that I've worked on, The Outer Spacemen, has a new cover, metal foil cover, being advertised on Kickstarter. And as of today, which has only been a few days, it has fully funded. And let me toss a link up there if it will let me. I don't know if it will let me.
Should let you.
No, it's not letting me. But so we've done. So The Outer Spaceman is based on a old IP that was done by. Let me make sure I say his name correctly. Mel Brenkart, who is the creator of these characters that eventually
for all of them. Wow.
For all of them. That's a great price.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you time it right on eBay, either noon or midnight when you go search on eBay for stuff, people aren't up, so sometimes they're not bidding or they're at work.
Right.
So he created these characters,
Can you
and
put the
each of the
link in the
characters.
private chat, and I'll see if I can cut it and paste it.
Okay, let's see.
There we go. I see it. Let me see if I can copy it and paste it in the comments. There you go. I got.
Okay, wonderful. So the Outer Spacemen were eventually like a toy set through, I think, Color Forms way back when. Since then, it has come back in other forms, comic books. There's
Right.
another set of toys out. And so I got hired to do some of these comics. So I got to color it and letter the project. And then there are also alternate covers of the characters. So I got to do some of the illustrations on it, and I got to work on a bunch of these projects. The story is written by Fabian Nicieza and drawn by Chris Batista. And even though Chris and I go back the 30 years we've both been working in comics, this is the first time we actually worked on the same project. So it's pretty cool to actually be in the comic industry as friends for the past 30 years, but never got to really work on a project
Yeah.
together. So so we got to put that together. So so it's been funded, but we still have 20 more days, 21 more days to it. So and there's a bunch of stuff, different covers, covers that are illustrated and covers of the actual toys, which I think was a fun thing, especially if you're a toy collector like I am. So, and then it has other stuff like coins and a bunch of fun stuff. So that's on Kickstarter now.
Let me see.
And right before we went on air, I got told, "Hey, could you advertise this on your social media because we want to let people
Sure.
know that they got it." So it's like, okay, I'll let everybody know that I can.
I'm trying to share this. There we go.
Oh,
And
okay,
that is
cool.
that says it's by Darren Kane. Darren just said he was got his first cover. So there, that one says down art variant by Darren Kane, cold foil etched. Let me see. Are you seeing the other covers now?
Yes. So okay, I think that
After,
the girl, I think that might be Darren's cover.
okay.
'Cause the other cover, the foil one is Chris's cover, because that was the one that I colored.
Okay. So you colored
Yep.
Chris's cover?
I colored Chris's cover and the letter, the interior of the book.
All right. And that's Darren's cover over there, it looks like. And there's different metal covers. Are these
And then
all photo covers or something?
those,
Every
yes,
character.
those are the photo covers of the individual spacemen.
Okay.
And in the book is also the first appearance of a brand new character in I think in 60 years that was added to it, and it's
And a
the first
gold
appearance of the
coin.
character.
Oh, Vary, have you signed this one?
That one,
There's Fabian, there's
yes,
Chris Batista. Is
yes. My
that
signature is
Wilson over here?
under that
Wilson
says men,
Ramos.
right under men is
Yep,
my
there it is.
signature.
I
Yeah.
see it.
That one, yeah, it's signed by Fabian, Chris, myself, and Mariano at the bottom, because he did he wrote a backup story in it.
Lots of fun stuff.
Yep. So the books are printed and ready to go. So there's no waiting on this one. Once it's done, they get sent out.
Cool. Cool. Any chains? I didn't see any chains there.
Not in this one, but I could talk to Mariano and we could see about doing an all change cover, and it'll be a space creature that's made out of chains. So
And you were mentioning sticker shock before. I just have to show you. I got 2 Scott Koblish covers this week. Let me show them to you. We got Green Lantern 33/600. Another one of his with 1,000 million different characters.
They have to get that one because it is the Green Lantern Corps.
And this one, I think, was $7. And this is his other one, where he did the cover of Superman's, one of the Superman Spider-Man covers, 1 million characters on the back.
I did not realize he did that cover. I would have picked that one up. That's one of the books where the sticker shock came in for myself as
This
well.
one was $9. And I just kind of like, who was that, Mysterio hanging out on the front cover with the two of them.
I did not realize Scott did one of them because there was a lot of covers out on the stand. And I was looking and I decided, all right, I'm going to go for the Art Adams cover where he has what looks like first appearance of Superman and Spider-Man on there. So that was the one that I chose. And then once I chose the cover, I go to look and it's a $9 book and it's like, I better choose the cover that I like, and Art Adams is definitely classic, and I'm pretty sure that is supposed to be like first appearance Superman and Spider-Man because the way the S is on Superman and the underwebs on Spider-Man and the roundness of the spider on his back. So it was like, oh, okay, I'll pick that one. But if I knew it was Scott's cover, I didn't realize Scott did a cover. I would have picked up Scott's cover.
By the way, 25 covers. They're all in the front. There's credited. It's like,
oh, whoa. Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
The store had a lot of covers. They weren't 25, or at least it didn't look like 25 in a row. It looked like they might have had 10. So it's possible they had another set behind them. And I didn't look. I didn't realize they had that many covers.
But yeah, what was that? Not $16. My 2 Scott Kovlish covers cost me this week. Mm-hmm. And I read the comics today. They were, I don't want to say they're bad. They're not to my taste, and they're kind of the exact kind of comics that I never liked. In terms of, like this one is Green Lantern 6. Like both of them have multiple stories in them. By multiple different creators. And they're kind of like those anniversary issues that like they had even when I was a kid, like Batman like 400 leaps to mind, where there's sort of like a main story and then there's a whole bunch of backup stories, but they really don't have anything to do. They're really to maybe show somebody who doesn't read the book so much, to kind of explain who everybody is. And like this Superman Spider-Man has how many stories? The first one, the first story is about that big, maybe 20 pages. And then they've got Lois Lane and Mary Jane. Jim Lee draws that one. Superboy Prime and the Amazing Spider-Man. Superboy and Spider-Man 2099, Jimmy Olsen and Carnage, Jonathan Kent and Ben Parker. That's a weird team up, isn't it? Says Jimmy Olsen and Carnage, Daily Planet and the Daily Bugle, and Power Girl and Punisher. I got to say, and I have to say, Power Girl really caught my eye just because I never heard of the artist before. Belen Ortega. And the second E in Belen, Belen, has an accent over it.
Yeah, it's pronounced Belen.
Belen?
Belen.
Belen Ortega. But he drew a really pretty... She drew a really pretty Power Girl. But all the artwork was nice. But like a lot of the stories were just kind of explaining the stories. So it's like, what was it? Spider-Man 99, Punisher and Power Girl really had no reason to be teaming up, but then, they had to explain, and they're short stories. So a lot of the story was the explanation, and then it was just a bit of fluff. So it's the kind of thing where
It's corporate synergy in its best.
corporate synergy, and I think people who don't read it might pick it up because it's an anniversary issue, so it's more aimed at them than the normal reader, which I guess is what I would be if I were to read any DC comics. But like, even as a kid, I understood that like these anniversary issues weren't always aimed at the regular reader.
Right.
And I don't think either of these were aimed at the regular reader. Not that I'm a regular reader. But like in the Green Lantern one, once again had multiple stories. Let's see if of multiple the first one was Kyle Rayner. That was the main story. What was it after?
I can see enjoying that one because I find that a Green Lantern core book, I always did like the Tales of Oa, that type of stuff was what I like. I think Green Lantern lends itself well to an anthology type story.
Right.
Where Superman, Spider-Man is more like, as we were joking around before, is corporate synergy. It's like here they're two big companies probably playing it really safe in the story because the story is not going to really affect the larger grand story itself.
Like, and they weren't bad. They're just really not to my taste, kind of thing. I don't want to say they're bad.
Right. I don't know how it's like until I read them, but
again, they were well done stories, just not particularly, as you would expect, not particularly to my taste.
Right.
Because I'm not a regular reader of Marvel and DC.
For Green Lantern, that's the perfect venue to do some proper science fiction, because that's how we got stories like Mogo Doesn't Socialize. You have the other Green Lanterns, and they can expand the universe a little bit. With Superman and Spider-Man, the supporting characters don't need their own stories. It's a soap opera. You don't need to do a story where Cat Grant is the main character, for example.
Right.
I have to find there was one line that really amused me in here. They're giving us the origin of Kyle Rayner, and he's kind of a loser or whatever. And then the Guardian comes down and goes, you shall have to do.
Well, to be honest, if you read the original, it kind of was.
Yeah, he wasn't looking for the bravest. Yeah, you'll have to do.
That's messed up.
I do not blame you for passing on Superman, Spider-Man at $9. I would have too, except my friend Scott did the cover, and I was buying the cover. That's 72 pages for $9 isn't too out there. You're right. It's just when I was buying it for the cover, it was a little out there for me. And you know what it is?
Not for everybody, but yeah.
Sometimes, let's see, do they take place in New York City or Metropolis? The lead story in Superman Spider-Man takes place in Metropolis. They mention that Peter Parker is coming over from New York City.
Yeah, this one is actually published by DC because they're jumping back and forth.
Smells like a weekend. Evening, people. Yeah.
Evening.
Yeah, but the problem with a $9 price tag is for something you don't know, like for a regular reader who thinks he's going to like this and get 72 pages for $9, you're like, fine. But like, I was just deciding, I actually got my email early this week for final order cutoff, but there was one, I think it was Headlopper. There's a new Headlopper book coming out from Image. And I kind of always wanted to try that one, but it's like an $8 first issue. So it's kind of like, I mean, I know it's extra sized, but do I really want to spend $8 on something to try it out? So that's where the price tag can really get in the way of something. If it's a tried and true team, like if Brubaker and Phillips put out those graphic novels now, which are $25. I'm okay with that. I know I'm gonna like it. But if I were to would I spend $25 on a graphic novel, just on a whim that I might like it? No. Same with like a $9 comic. I I might pass on Headlopper because it's $8 for the first issue, and that's the only reason I'll pass on it is the price.
Yeah, I remember when it became usual for the first issue to cost $1 more, but it
Yeah.
was at the time when the first issues were double sized.
Right.
So it was a
Yeah.
good excuse to pay a bit more, and you got a big story for the first issue.
Right, right.
But now they're just expensive first issues.
Yeah.
And
And anniversary issues even $9 or $7 for Green Lantern 600/33. I don't know how many casual buyers that's gonna get. Oh, I remember he is mentioning this week he got Silver Surfer facsimile edition. Yeah, $7, but it's 56 pages. I
Right,
looked
right.
at that one and went, I'm just not a fan of that silver. I mean, I looked at it and liked the John Romita art, but the writing on that is so god awful. Holy cow! That might be, besides She-Hulk #1, that's the worst Stan Lee writing ever. That book, it's just
You
terrible.
you know what makes Stan Lee's Silver Surfer better? Getting translated
What?
into another language, and it's no longer Stan Lee.
It
Because that's how I read. Here's the thing:
can only improve it.
yeah, well, the Brazilians like that era, and I
Right.
suppose in the 70s and 80s it would be interesting for them. But since they had a habit of truncating the actual dialogues, they cut out of a lot of stuff. That's why I don't. I got used to not having typical Claremont or typical Roy Thomas because they would reduce the dialogue by 1 to 2/3.
Right.
And
That
they
Silver
and
Surfer one. Keep going.
and they did the same with Stan Lee. I mean, let's just make Stan Lee sound better. And since they made sure that doesn't the translator was doing everything, they made sure that the character sounded the same no matter who was the original writer.
I might pick up that Silver Surfer one next week if it's a slower week, but I don't know. I just want to look through it more than own it. They're coming out with issue 4, I think, next with that Thor and Silver Surfer cover that everybody loves. That I didn't realize was art corrected until like a couple weeks ago. I saw someone post, must have been on that the Marvel Method board. They posted they changed some of the background and figures around on that Kirby. You know the cover I'm talking about, right?
yes.
Mm-hmm. Looks like they're going to do the Silver Surfer facsimiles like they did the FF. Yeah, here and there.
The first 7 issues are all big size because Stan wanted to tell the world
Right.
how big of a writer he was.
Right.
So they all.
He was supposed to be showing how skilled he was, and oh my God, is it awful?
Yeah, translator rewrite. Yeah, they do, and in fact, the Italians have an expression, which is the traduttore traditore, the traitor translator.
Translators rewrite dialogue? I knew it.
Yes.
They're doing the first 7 issues of Silver Surfer facsimile editions, from what I read.
And also, those ones have the backup stories, the Tales of the Watcher,
yes,
where Larry Lieber rewrote a couple of the monster stories.
Oh, you know, what cracked me up. Speaking of facsimile editions, I was watching a Mercenauts show, whatever, hot book of the week, whatever it was. It's usually like a lot of Golden Age stuff, but other stuff too. And they're all on it. They're getting a little, because they're not. A lot of them buy expensive books. By expensive, I mean a few $100s. They're not buying $10,000 books. but they're buying $200 books. And Mercenary was saying a couple weeks ago, oh, they got to stop doing, printings of absolute Batman. Just let it be rare or something like that. And the other guy's like, no, DC can make money at it. They're going to do it, which, what we say too. But there's one book that they're now making a facsimile of that is only valuable for the cover. And it's like a $200 book. It's a Legion of Superheroes 25 with an Adam Hughes Supergirl cover. And for some reason, this one Adam Hughes cover is worth like $200 to $400. I mean, it's crazy. It's completely random, it seems to me. And they're like, they make a facsimile of that. It's going to be worth nothing now. Because it's not even a comic people want to buy and read. It's one people only buy for the cover. And now they'll be able to get a facsimile of it. So the price is going to plummet. And like a lot of people who buy collectors got to have something to collect. So they want something not everybody has. So they were getting a little dismayed that there was going to be a facsimile of that one. I just kind of giggled a little.
That's been going on for years, where collectors do not some collectors do not understand that the companies publishing this has no stake in the matter whether that book is going to be worth more or less.
Right.
After they sell it, they make no more money after it sells, and some collectors don't understand that. It's like, oh, it's going to ruin this, but Marvel and DC got their initial money of creating it. The value is not in the artwork, as they told me at Marvel. The value is not in the artwork, it's in the finished book product. And once that's done, anything before that doesn't matter. Anything after it doesn't matter. It's the book itself is the important product, and that's all they worry about. So they don't worry about collectors. They don't worry about the artist. All they worry about is the finished product. And that's kind of how it was with the artwork. Oh yeah, the artwork's not important.
Right.
The finished product is.
More than one Adam Hughes cover is worth more than $200. I'll believe that, but it's that Supergirl one I've seen the most over the last 10 years. It's like Legion of Superheroes 24 or 26 or something. Like I said, I don't even know why that one is the one I see the most that people want.
Is that the first Supergirl in Legion?
No.
That would make
it's just a pretty
sense,
cover.
But, okay.
It's Supergirl sitting on a rock. It's just a pretty cover. I think it was just one of those things where somebody wanted it and all of a sudden everybody wanted it. And there was a German edition you could get for $20 or $30. So some people did that. Was that Italian phrase, Paolo? I got to write that down and translate it. There we go. Grazie. Oh, it's 23. Legion of Superheroes 23. That's it. There are a lot of people that collect and do not read. Oh, yeah, that's 100%. But I'm saying, what's weird about that Legion is that nobody wants the book. Like, there are some books that are designed for you to want them for their covers. Like the 1 in 25, whatever, the 1 in 50, this, the 1 in... I don't know. I don't even know that Legion of Superheroes 23 is a variant. It's strange. I'm sure the reprint ID do the summer of... Yes, that must be the summer of Supergirl at DC. That's why they're reprinting it.
Yeah, makes sense.
Was that a movie coming out this summer of Supergirl, right?
Yes.
Okay. I vaguely remember something about... I vaguely remember people complaining about it already. Or was that the Green Lantern they were complaining about more?
It's like an equal value of complaints. I don't... Luckily, I've curved my feed, so I don't get the complaints.
Yeah.
What I end up getting nowadays are the complaints about the complaints. I can't believe people are complaining about this. And
Yeah.
it's like I don't need to listen to that, so
Hmm.
I try to stay away from that. But as far as like regular comics trying off the shelf, I picked up my first issue of Invincible #1 because he's coming back with his own
Uh-huh.
stories. So I was like, all right, I'll try that. So
Oh, are
I
they
picked
coming
up,
up with a new Invincible?
yeah, so it's Invincible Returns, Bold
I
New
think no, I
Era.
think that's a reprint.
Is it?
I think
Because
that was an
I thought they were just redoing Invincible because on the other books from Image, Skybound books, they have
that's for the
Invincible
new season of the
covers.
cartoon, I think.
Is it?
I think that was like issue like 65 of Invincible because
Oh,
for a
okay.
while they had another guy filling in as him, and then he returned. So I think that's a reprint. I'm not 100% sure.
You know what? It is. Because
Yeah.
now as I'm scrolling through this was the episode I just watched.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't realize it was a reprint, but you know what? It's still $4.99. So
Yeah.
I'm happy that this sticker price did not get me as much. And I picked the Eric Larson cover because I thought that was
Right.
pretty
I
cool.
was going to say that looks like Eric Larson, but inked by somebody. The inking looks different.
Maybe Ryan North inked it just to make it look
Ah.
like his art.
Yeah, I do see a
Probably,
Ryan under
yeah.
there.
There's a Ryan on there. Okay, it's funny because as you said that, I'm flipping through the pages like I just watched that scene.
That, like
Okay,
I said, I think it was because the new animated season just started.
started. Okay,
Let's
all right
see.
then. Well, I'll still enjoy it even though I just watched this episode.
Half Infinity says, even as a teen, I thought covers by a different artist were a cheap move. Now my own comic has a Howard Chaykin cover. I'm a hypocrite. That's because when you're trying to sell the comic, get somebody
Yeah,
who sells some
Covers are
Catwoman
a
51 cleavage cover is worth a bit. Okay, I think you mentioned that one. I think I'm not 100% sure, but I think I know that one. I think that one I have a book of Adam Hughes covers called Cover Run. That's it's got just a whole bunch of his DC covers. So I think that one's in there.
Remember when classic X-Men covers were by Steve Lytle?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did anyone complain that it was not John Byrne covers?
No. Didn't Art
But
Adams do some too?
he did a
Art,
few, and I think Mignola did a few.
Okay.
Or
yeah.
I'm mixing that up with something else.
Mhm.
But I like those X-Men classics.
Yeah,
Maybe
they're
because
a
there was
good
some
cover.
extra pages,
Right.
completely different art than
Yeah.
John Byrne, but I felt that was a nice little addition to something I already bought, and I felt added a little more to the story.
Yeah, I was pretty much out of Marvel comics by then, so I wasn't buying them. But my friend Rob bought them and loved them. He also I've never been a big fan of sort of retro continuity of like filling in the blanks of what happened, which is what the X-Men but like Rob loves that stuff. That's his he wants to know more. He likes it when they go back and fill in the continuity of something 10 years ago. But I'm like, I just
You
want to keep moving forward.
you know that in classic X-Men #2, they actually did one thing because they rewrote and redrew. They rewrote the comic to fix a mistake from X-Men number 94. Because there's a scene in number 94 where Cyclops tells Nightcrawler to teleport inside NORAD Mountain.
Right.
And it became established later that he can't teleport blind. He has to know where he's going.
Right.
So in number 94, they fixed that. They added an extra page where Banshee is using his powers as a sonar to penetrate the mountain so that Nightcrawler could see where he was going.
Well, he can teleport blind. He just might die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like teleporting into a solid mountain.
Hmm.
Let's see. Wow, 9/8 of that Supergirl cover have recently sold for as much as $1,935 on eBay. Wow. Yeah, like I said, it's crazy how much that one is worth.
Yeah.
You
Do
know
you know
who
how many?
didn't buy that issue for that much? Me. There's no reason
Now,
to, but
do you realize how many spawns I could buy with
Yeah.
$1,935?
X-Men classics were great, and that a younger reader could read the stories from the start. Yeah, that run in an affordable edition. Yeah, that was before
yeah,
everything was reprinted too.
yeah,
Sure.
And like I said, my friend Rob could reread them, and he loved that. Fixing that thing with that he likes that sort of stuff.
yeah. I
Yeah.
think I had
So
some fun with those as well because of that.
yeah.
When there's like there was a time period where the difference of the art would have bothered me,
Mm-hmm.
but for those books it didn't. And like you mentioned, I enjoyed that little bit of extra, that little bit of that's a cool little thing. So I had fun with those books, and I liked you know at the time getting those reprint books like Marvel Tales, Marvel Triple Action, because those are the only ways for me to get those
Right.
stories at the time because they weren't really doing much yet on trade paperbacks. So there was no
No.
real reprints going on. You were lucky you
Yeah.
may stumbled onto like a giveaway reprint.
Mm-hmm. I remember when Adam Hughes was drawing Ghost for Dark Horse, and hardly anyone was buying it but me. Yeah, I noticed it and didn't buy it.
I did pick up the
I
early
was like, "Ooh,
ones.
Adam Hughes is drawing a comic." Didn't buy it. Later on, I think he drew some cup like when they relaunched it in some I don't know around 2008 or so. I'm just guessing on the second time around and I think it was when Dark Horse Presents Volume 2 was around. I think I bought a couple of the like one shots of Ghost just for the artwork, but Adam Hughes may have just done the covers on those ones.
Yeah. I have
I don't
the Ghost.
remember.
Yeah, I have the Ghost Hellboy one shot, but I have the Brazilian edition.
Ghost Hellboy.
Yep.
Here's a
Not
comic I
bad.
liked. A comic I liked, but I'm not going to buy any more of.
Hmm.
This is The Peril of the Brutal Dark and Ezra Kane Mystery.
Uh,
A Vertigo book by Chris Condon and Jacob Phillips. It's a period piece that I think it takes place in the 30s. And I like it. The only reason I'm not going to buy any more of it is because it's clearly written for the trade. There's no reason to buy this as individual issues.
mhm.
Because on page 1, the story just kind of starts. And then on the last page, it just kind of ends. It was one of those where I got to the last page of the actual story and I'm flipping pages to see if there's another page. Because it just kind of stops. No to be continued even. No, just stops in the middle of a strangulation. Not a place where you'd even stop a story. So I was like, it just annoyed me so much. I'm like, you know what? I'm enjoying the story, but if they're going to write it for the trade, then I'm not buying the individual issues. Like, I mean, and there's no editorial material. There's no reason for me to buy these in single issues. Now, me saying I'm going to buy it in the trade generally means I'm never going to buy it. Because I don't buy that many trade. But it just annoys me if all you're going to do for the single issues is cut up a trade into 4 or 5 pieces and give me one of the pieces. It's have some put some craft into it. If
Right.
you want me to buy a single issue, put some craft into it.
At least know where to do story breaks.
Yeah. Nowhere
Yeah.
to do story. Put a to be continued so I'm not looking.
Yeah.
Even a to be continued helps. But no, not even that. Yep, Iron Zero's mentioning those Mike Mignola covers too. How does he pronounce his name? Because I always say Mignola because that's how I've heard it pronounced. But I've heard people say Mignola. Or me.
I've always pronounced it the way you did, Mignola.
Yeah.
It's been all the time. And I think I met him once or twice, and I don't think I ever heard him actually say his name.
Right. You'd have
Like
to
earlier,
ask him.
like earlier,
Mignola, I've heard people
yeah.
say, but
Yeah, like earlier today, you said Pepoi, but I always pronounced it Peepoy for Margot. So
I usually say
wasn't-
Papoy, I think.
Do you? Okay.
I
I've
think I
always said
usually say
Peepoy,
Papoy.
and
But
so
who
I'm
knows?
not sure. But who knows? I don't know.
I don't know.
So next time I see her, I'll ask. But again, it's one of those things where it's like certain times, like it's sometimes hard to listen to other people review comic books, and they may have a different saying for Bashema
Yeah.
or Ramita, and I've heard it those ways for so long.
Buscema was always my favorite.
Mhm.
I knew somebody said
Or
Buscema.
Chris Bacalo. I always say
Yeah.
Bacalo.
I say
I'm not
Bacala.
Do you?
That's how I always heard it, but I don't know.
Yeah, I always complain about Italian Americans mispronouncing their own names.
Yeah, well, that's why we've got Steve Bucelato and his brother Brian Bucalato. How does he say it again? He went back. His brother went back to the Italian pronunciation.
The correct Italian
Buccellato,
pronunciation,
right? That's how he says
the correct Italian pronunciation is Buccellato.
Buccellato. That's what he went back to.
Okay.
So Steve Buccellato was still going by Buccellato, but his brother Brian was going by the Italian pronunciation. So it's like, oh, okay. Steve's like, maybe I'll go to the Italian one. I don't know if he ever did.
I'll become more Italian, eh?
My favorite fake pronunciation I say all the time is letterer and former Marvel bullpenner who I've never met. But I'm friends with him on Facebook. I think his name is actually pronounced Pat Brousseau. I'm not sure. It's Brosseau.
Yeah,
but one
French.
day on Facebook, he pronounced, people are always pronouncing my name wrong. I can't believe it. But he never told us how it was pronounced. So now I took the end of it is Seau, like in Junior Seau, the former. So now I call him Bro Seau just because, hey, I like that one. And he never told us how it was pronounced.
It's French. It's
Brousseau.
I'll meet Pat Brousseau and I'll excusez-moi, your last name is pronounced Brousseau. I will buy you a croissant.
Sienkiewicz is actually pronounced Sienkiewicz. What?
Yes. Dave. It's pronounced Dave.
Dave. Fantagraphics is having their spend $50, get $50 sale this weekend. Ooh. That's cool. Every $50 you spend gets you $50 for future use. No expiration. They only do that sale once a year.
Didn't they lose a bunch of money with the boat getting shot in the Persian Gulf?
They haven't. I don't know if what the I don't. Their book was on the boat, but the boat wasn't sunk. But it's going to take a while to get home, I think. I don't know if they lost money or just lost time. One or the other.
The question has popped up on Facebook whether or not this is things like this is going to affect comic books altogether, and it's like I have no idea.
Well, Fantagraphics specifically said some of their books were on a boat that was shot at, and they had to dock.
Right. If you print your books in China or India,
that's where it's going to affect. And I think it used to be. I don't know if they're doing it anymore, but I think the image books were all printed overseas for a while. I don't know if they still are.
Well, the comic books I think are printed in Canada. The trade paperbacks and hardcovers are overseas in China or India, it seems too.
I think some are in Eastern Europe.
Yeah, there's probably some over there too.
Which doesn't make it any that much cheap.
Yeah,
doesn't mean that it's going to be that cheap with the current gas prices.
But most of the comics are Celesco, I think their name is now. They used to be Quebec Color. The same ones have been printing comic books for a long time. We print comic books.
So, not a sticker shock. It was actually a regular price comic. But I picked up this comic off the shelf just because I liked the cover. And it's called Mega Ghost.
Mega Ghost.
The Dark Horse book. In issue number 1. And I saw it. I was like, that looks intriguing. I'm going to pick it up. I know absolutely nothing about it.
Giant robot ghost.
Giant robot ghost. And I was like, all right, that's cool. I'm loving the lettering size. So I can read that. I can read that without my glasses. So that seemed to be a winner for me. And I like the artwork. The neat, cartoony, kind of indie art look to it, but polished. I like it. And the giant rat creature there was fun. So I decided, all right, let me try it. It's an issue number 1, the Dark Horse book. And it has some cool things going on in it. So it's like, why not? So I'm going to give this a try and see if this is something that could be put onto the pull list or not. And $4.99.
Regular old price,
which is still a bit much, in my opinion. I used to remember I could get, I could recycle some cans and I would be able to buy a comic. But those days are long gone.
This is the one. This is the one I'm looking for. Speaking of a questionable, because you said you like the lettering. This one's got a questionable lettering choice. I enjoyed the first issue a lot. I enjoyed the second issue a lot too. Is Ted Okay? By Dave Chisholm. But their decision to have black lettering, on red, really slowed down my reading. Only on some of the balloons. As you can see, that ain't easy. Not enough contrast.
That's not even red. That's magenta.
Yes, it's magenta.
Makes it even worse.
It's not a dark red, but still.
Oh,
it's not quite 100% magenta. It's got some yellow in there or something, or maybe a little blue.
Isn't that
But that really slowed down my reading. I was like, come on.
Yeah, pure magenta. It was pure magenta is not easy on the eyes.
No. And I don't think it's not quite a magenta. It might be. I can't tell. I can barely. I was just like, why did they do that? When a comic book you like that makes a questionable choice, and you're like, oh, come on, I want to like you. But if you're gonna make me read black on red, I'm not gonna be happy. Which was it? Was it Arkham Asylum? I think the first printing had black on red type, and they changed it for the second printing. I think that was the one, because it was so hard to read. But it's a fun comic. Once again, it's an auteur comic. Only one guy is doing it, Dave Chisholm. And Is Ted Okay is a story. I think it takes place in the future, but not so far in the future where it's that much different than now. But this young woman's job is at this corporation, everybody works for some random corporation. And her job is to watch other people doing the job to make sure they're not suicidal or homicidal. And Ted, she's thinking, is a little suicidal. But nobody cares. She tried to pass it up the line, and nobody cares. And she meets him this issue. It's just this weird, fun comic. Mad Cave has been doing a lot of weird, fun comic kind of things. So I'm enjoying this one. They're the same one who publishes a lot of the Stefano Cardacelli stuff that I enjoy.
There was a splash page in that book that looked very much like a I don't know if it's martial law or it's giving me a Judge Dredd vibe that I've seen before. There was a splash page was like layers of buildings. Yeah, that looks very familiar.
Sci-fi-ish.
It's very sci-fi-ish, and I just remember something about that. It pulls a memory where it was like people were talking about the coloring, comparing the original book and then the reprint book, and it was a very similar page on uh coloring and stuff like that. So it was just like it gave me a flashback to something that was like that just looks
Right.
familiar.
I would have liked that issue better without the black on red. I don't remember the first issue having that. I'll have to go look. Tit Goblin really liked that ghost cover.
Yeah, it's
62
a really cool cover.
Yeah. Gives us some history. Mega Ghost is fun. Comes from Albatross Studios, which is Eric Powell's The Goon. That is volume 2, issue 1. Wilson, first
Yes.
volume is in trade paperback.
Here's the Albatross logo. That's what it was. I wasn't sure. It was like it wasn't familiar. It's not coming in too clear, but it's like, oh, it has its own logo on there.
Dark Horse has a few. That's right. Didn't Dark Horse kick out the former owner?
Yeah, Michael Richardson is no longer there. He was let go. Right. I mean, there was another they were bought out a little while ago, so it's not too surprising, but it is also surprising only in the sense of, it exists only because of him, I believe. I don't think there was a Dark Horse before. I think he created it from whatever, however he started. I couldn't tell you what was like the beginning of Dark Horse, but it was like he was always there.
It is expected. So it's one of those cases where you buy the company, the founder stays for a few
while.
years.
Yeah.
And besides, is at a retirement age.
Yeah. So it's not that shocking. But I don't. From what I could read, he wasn't really expecting it for whatever reason. And boy, people were dying this week. Seems like a million years ago that Sam Keith died, and that was like when was that? The day after our last show or something?
Yeah, it's been 13 or 14 days since. Yeah, and
it's wild of how many people have passed.
Anna Marie Cool,
Anna Marie, Barbie, and then projects like that.
Did you ever meet her?
I was rattling my brain to try to remember if I met her.
Same thing.
And it's like I don't recall meeting her directly.
I know she was in the office.
Right. And I remember, the Barbie era when that started. I was there at the beginning. And so, they went through the names of people, and it's like for the life of me, I couldn't remember meeting her. But it might have been one of those things where, I might have met her at the office once or twice, but
and also the Barbie office was always like down on the 9th floor. So we didn't always get to see everyone come and go from the Barbie office because we were up on 10.
Right. And again, it's like I said, I was rattling my brain. It's like, looking at pictures. It's like, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think I met her.
I don't recall meeting her. Chances are I did. I just don't recall.
But I knew her work. She did a lot of nice Barbie covers.
Yes.
And her and Amanda, between the two of them, Amanda Connor was doing Barbie at the time too. Barbie and Barbie Fashion, I think, were the two books.
Right. So I know I had to handle the artwork. So I would have at least talked to her on the phone or something.
The other guy who died was a Belgian. But he was very important in European comics. But as usual, not everyone's heard of him in the U.S. Even a whole day later, not even the TCJ had posted a news item about his passing. So the guy who died was Herman, real name Herman Hoopen. He just went by his. In the U.S., probably better known for having created Jeremiah.
Right.
which is a science fiction series. They did a TV series based on it,
I
and
remember the TV series.
I think there are 40 Jeremiah albums, so it was long running. But and over half of them were published in the U.S. But in Europe, the most famous series that he did was Comanche, a western that was written by Greg, and that was also a long-running series, lasted for 25 years. Of course, after Greg died, Herman's son Yves Upen became the writer. Later, they both created a different Western series called Duke. That's still going on. I don't know what Yves is going to do. If it's still going to do more stories. The last album came out last year, so even at the age, how old was he? 85. Even at the age of 85.
Still drawn.
Yeah, still drawing.
Still
but
drawn.
Yeah.
Tit Goblin says Dark Horse was a store that published internal comics locally and then quickly picked up licensed properties. That's how I remember his origin story. Well, I remember I actually bought Dark Horse Presents issue number 1 back when it came out. That was the first Dark Horse comic, and they expanded from there. Crossed, I think, was on the cover. Right now, what was his name?
Concrete?
No, not Concrete. I can't even remember. I can picture the cover too, but I can't picture the word balloon of who was on Black Cross. That's it, I think. Black Cross was Black Cross was sort of the breakout Dark Horse guy for very briefly, because I think the guy who was drawing him, who was pretty good, was their art director, and he just wasn't fast enough to draw a monthly comic and have a job. Yeah, Black Cross.
After that, you got The Mask and Boris the Bear.
Right, and Concrete was there pretty early too. But he was to say Concrete was a breakout hit is a
Concrete.
was a niche hit.
Being a fan of Concrete is a bit like being a fan of Lou Reed.
Yeah. Hey! I hope none of you are AI. Well, I'm hoping to upload my brain into a computer so that I can become AI one day. That
when I become AI, I will be all characters in this show.
Ed the Alien was my favorite early door card. Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, I have the omnibus for all the Tracker stories.
Yes, Chadwick has a new Concrete series coming out soon. There you go.
Yes.
When I saw Tracker, I had to buy the Tracker trade paperback. I had to buy it, but Tracker was never a breakout character.
Yeah, at least he got his own mini, his own series for a while. I remember liking. There was I don't think they appeared a whole lot, but there was stories called Celia and Delia in the early Dark Horse Presents stuff.
It sounds familiar. Black and white?
It is black and white, sort of this very line worky, and I think it was like science fiction, but they were on this like crazy cat landscape. I remember there may have only been like 2 or 3 8-page stories of them, but I remember liking them.
Yeah,
that was an early one that I thought could have become a breakout, but didn't. Jinx, you owe me a comic, because they both said new Concrete series. Jinx, you owe me a comic. Instead of Jinx, you owe me a Coke.
Yep. So speaking of characters coming back, I saw that there's a new Grendel in the works.
Ah, there is a new one?
Yeah, so I also picked up from the comic book shop the freebie stuff.
Yeah.
So
right, because the current series is a series of mini series. So it ended last year, but it continues the same plot.
As we were saying, Dark Horse. So in the Dark Horse catalog, we got Grendel's Devil's Crucible Sedition, issue number 1. Takes place sometime in the far future where you can have clones, and I believe they're going to clone the original Grendel.
Oh, that's right. I'd forgotten it hasn't come out in so long. It's I think it's one mini series made up of 3 mini series. So like Devil's Crucible is the name of the overall mini series. And then there's like
Okay.
a second name after that.
Right.
So that one's Sedition, right? Devil's
Yes.
Crucible Sedition.
Edition.
Yeah, I'll be getting it.
So I saw that and I was like, look at that, Grendel.
Grendel. Yeah, I forgot. There hasn't been an issue in a while.
Yeah, almost a year. No, maybe more.
More than that? Right. It continues the same Grendel story in 4 minis, I think. Yeah, it was something like that. It was either 3 or 4 minis, 4 issues, one last one. There was a whole plan for maybe 3. I can't remember what it is. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
because
they
Matt Wagner
explained
has
it
to.
all in the first mini, but
Well, he has
I'll
to
be
write
curious.
and draw everything.
Yeah.
So
Well, there's his
Cavern
son
books.
coloring for him now, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Or his daughter, which is it? One or the other. I may be confusing him with Sean Phillips, who's got a son who colors his stuff and draws his own stuff.
No, it's Matt Wagner's son. Yeah.
Is his son?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that popped out to me. Everything else kind of like was the regular Dark Horse stuff. That's like, okay, those look cool, but nothing was really jumping out except for Grendel. It's like, that's neat. And this one called Nano, which has the art style very similar to the old Japanese art style that was popular in the 80s.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
not,
Hand-drawn logo.
yeah. So it was like,
Yeah.
oh, that looks neat.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's going to be good, who knows? But again, it was
We'll
one of those
see.
things where as I'm flipping through this, and then there's a bunch of titles I've never heard of. Oh, their Powers is over with them. I guess they were with them for a while because it says issue 25, so I didn't realize that. Let's see. They have Star Wars stuff. Jupiter's
Sleeping
Legacy.
Readers excited by new Jeff Darrow with lots of covers. That's one thing I noticed.
That's here we go. Shaolin Cowboy.
Yeah.
I really like Jeff Darrow's artwork, but Shaolin Cowboy did nothing for me when I picked up those issues.
You got to sit with it and be patient.
Do you?
Yeah, because I agree with you. It did nothing for me when I first read it. Then I went back to I think the last series I bought, and maybe the series before that I bought in collected edition, and this was the first series I bought as it came out, and I found that it's paced unlike any other comic. So you got to sit
I think
with
that's
it.
what bothered me with the pacing. Maybe that's
Right.
something I would have to read as a trade paperback rather
Well,
than
even if you don't read it as a
individual
trade paperback, sit down and give you time and you kind of have to let it wash over you. And then I went back and looked at it with a magnifying glass.
Mhm.
So I really spent more time with it than just flipping, because the pace is sort of so fast that you flip by everything that makes it what it is. That's what I found I was doing. I found if I'd sit with it, even if I flipped through it fast the first time, I'd then go back because there's nothing to read. Then I'd go back and kind of look at it. And I liked it much more when I kind of embraced its pacing and spent a little more time with it than flipping through it going, there's nothing to read. Ed the Alien, though, piss came out of showers when he flushed the toilet. It's all about Jeff Darrow's weird sense of humor. Yeah, you have to spend some time with a sense of humor, too. That's what it is. If I was going too fast and missing his sense of humor entirely.
Okay.
And he's got so many little things in there that are a sense of humor that are enjoyable, but you have to spend time with it. So it took me years to like Jeff Darrow. Not Not to say I disliked his, but to like Jeff Darrow comics.
Okay.
Because I just wasn't getting them. Much like Chris Ware, who I just didn't. When I finally slowed down and started reading Chris Ware comics like they were comic strips, I'd read a few pages a day. I liked them much better. So sometimes it's me as a reader who doesn't get it.
Right.
It's not necessarily the fault of the comic, which is funny because, I understand when it's something like this that I know isn't aimed at me. That I can understand me not getting. Oh, another here. And I can also understand. I read 2 issues of Eclipse Monthly. I'll show them to you. I haven't changed the bags yet, so they're still in their. These look like 1990s bags. I must have changed them. They were 1980s bags. They'd be much stickier. Because 1980s bags still weren't archived. Even though these are now yellowing and cloudy, they're still archival. The bags don't affect the comics. The comics affect the bags.
Yeah, the 80s bags have been, turning back into oil, for
Yes.
lack of a better term.
This one's got a Captain Quick and a Foozle story in it. It's only got 3 stories, I think. It's got a detectives and Ragamuffin story. And it's got a Masked Man story in it with Peter Parker as one of the characters. Steve Ditko Peter Parker specifically.
Yep.
And it's possibly, is this the one? Or is it next issue? It's next. Yeah, there's Flash Thompson beating up Peter Parker. So this is really settled into sort of just being like the other one. What is this, issue 4? Issue 5 only has 2 stories in it, I think. Did I read issue 6 too? Is that still over there? Let me see something. Like issue 5 has just a Masked Man story. And then the other one is like a 20-page Rio story, which is really good. So there's not nearly the variety there was in Eclipse magazine. Which one was it? Do I still have another one over there?
It's like you said, it's one of those 1 or 2 page fillers to give it the magazine feel.
Yeah. Oh yeah, then I read this one too, I think, which has that's right. And then it gets weird. I read this 3rd issue too. It's got this Carlos McLear, the Californian story. Oh, I don't remember this. Whoops. Oh, this terrific. I always loved, this is a Scott McCloud Zott back cover. And Deco, the villain, was always one of my favorites. And it's just a story of the West in Mexico, of a guy hunting a bear. Then we've got this crazy Mike Sikowski story of all things. Nightshade by Mark Evanier and Mike Sikowski. And it's about the most bland origin story you've ever read. It's about a rich woman who gets mocked by poor people for trying to help poor people, because they're all like, go back home, rich girl. There's nothing you can do here. So she decides to put on a costume and be a superhero, if that can be called what she's doing. Because at the end, she's saying, like, the headdress will keep my identity secret. I don't know what good I can do, but I've got to do something. But where do I start? So it's just this rich woman who dresses up and goes to the poor neighborhoods to, I don't know, look for trouble. And then the last story is a Masked Man story, and it's a legal story that probably is the furthest from any legal procedure ever story. It's like because of course this is 1984, so there weren't a ton of legal dramas out there, and, and it's just like the very beginning. I loved this when he's like, I forget who it is. Is it the masked man who's on trial? Yeah, the masked man is on trial and he's representing himself, and the things looked bad, but what made it even worse was that the opposing attorney was the famous Simon T. Baxter. He usually doesn't take the role of prosecuting attorney, but this time he volunteered for the job. He's usually not a prosecuting attorney because you can't volunteer to be one. That's a job.
Yeah, that's a specific job
That's a specific job. They hire you. You just can't be an attorney and show up at the court and say, I'll prosecute this one. They don't let you do that. That's what a defense attorney does, not a prosecutor. And it was filled with like goofy stuff in there that, and of course, Peter Parker showed up again. Who is he? The Aphid Man? And any resemblance to an actual trial is strictly coincidental. It was just so goofy, that story. But it makes sense for a story in 1984 because none of us knew. The way we all know what a trial looks like now is through TV and movies.
Yeah.
But in 1984,
and those weren't really too accurate when they first started.
Right. And even today, you'll hear people complain they're not that accurate, but compared to then, they're super accurate. Oh, there's another Zot. I got to reread this series too. It is one of my. Have either of you ever read Zot?
I knew about it. I might have read an issue or two. The that back cover, with the character with the
Deco.
Yeah, with the head. I think Gary Guzzo owned that original cover.
Oh, wow.
Because he was telling me that at the time, it was very easy to get Zot artwork. Because it wasn't that expensive. Because not too many people was actually reading it. So it was one of those books where, if you knew about it, that's how it existed for you. So he would run into Scott at conventions and stuff like that. And Scott wouldn't have it. He would have like all the originals there.
Right.
And Gary he bought a bunch of them at a song. So I remember.
Wonder if Dawn still has those.
Yeah, I don't know. I know that at some point, obviously before he passed, Gary had his artwork, not the artwork, his collection. So I would assume it would have some of the artwork too. But the comic book collection and stuff like that, I think he had some sort of deal with Heritage or one of the other large auction houses was at least appraising it and had took a bunch of them off his hands. But I don't know if that included the artwork.
Jeff Darrow seems like a really nice guy, Tit Goblin tells us.
I don't recall if I ever met him.
Yeah, Darrow's work is almost like Sergio Aragonés's Mad magazine Marginalia. Yeah. Got to spend, just like you had to spend time with Mad magazine looking at those margins. You got to spend
sometimes those are the funniest parts of the book. Unfortunately, there were some years.
Bizarre. So I'm having fun reading these Eclipse magazines, but it seems like it's running out of steam. I can see why it only lasted 8 or 10 issues. I can't remember now because that last one, the stories weren't. It's running, and Zot was also one of those books that started off in color and ended up in black and white. So that's when you know it's not a big hit in the 80s.
Right.
No, you know it's a big hit when it starts in black and white and ends in color.
Yeah, that would be a hit. Speaking of which, I just saw something about the sales on some of those some of those image books are going up. Like this third issue of Dork went up. like some of those ones that have been hit, that like they're having really good sales numbers so far. I was like, oh, that's good to see. And it
Yeah.
even bumped up some of the other image books. So I guess there are some new people checking out some stuff.
That's good.
I forget which one it mentioned. I can't remember, but it was one of them that was around like 16. Issue 16 had its best sales day in a while since the beginning. I was like, oh, cool. And I did get White Sky #2. I got the Invincible cover.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if Invincible was like crossing over, and then I realized later that it was part of the
Yeah.
that
Invincible
Invincible was
month
that.
variant.
Right, because the cartoon had
Right.
popped back up.
And the artwork is nice. The story's just at its beginning. This is a teenage girl who got separated from her father as she tries to make it. Like, you know what? Me comparing it to The Walking Dead has put expectations in my mind. So then when it's not like The Walking Dead, I'm surprised. Because The Walking Dead is sort of the most similar comparison, but they're not really anything alike. It's just they're both sort of post-apocalyptic. And this already by the second issue has more sort of science fiction, sci-fi elements in it. Because in this because instead of zombies, it's ghosts. And ghosts are automatically more supernatural than zombies because they always explain the zombies by a disease or something. Who knows? Zombies don't have to be supernatural, even though they are. But they don't have. You don't have to play up the supernatural element of zombies. You kind of have no choice but to play up the supernatural aspect of ghosts. Because they're ghosts, and we get our first hint that there's different type of ghosts. And someone is sort of guiding her in the beginning, sort of telepathically too. So there's that supernatural element to it. So all these supernatural elements, sort of in issue 2, kind of surprised me because in my mind, they're not supposed to be there because it's Walking Dead. So that was a little me thing, not an it thing. But second time I read it through, I'll probably because the second time I read the first issue through, I liked it better. I not that I didn't like it the first time, but I liked it even better. So I assume I'm gonna like this even better too. Let's see. Why get the Invincible cover? Covers don't match the interior. Bugged me. I just got it because I liked it better. I didn't like the second cover I just didn't like the regular second cover very much. That's all that was. I just read The Peril of Brutal Dark, and there's a very pulpy film studio setup for the next chapter after the last page. Like I said, I had trouble with that one because I kept looking for the next. That one, as I said before, I don't think there's any reason to read it in individual issues because it's written for the trade clearly. Because I got to the last page and I kept flipping to see where the last page was, unless I missed something.
Well, even the way they designed the title,
Yeah.
it is meant to remind you of a pulp novel.
Oh, it's definitely pulpy, no doubt about it. I mean, I like it. I just don't want to buy it as a comic, especially or maybe Vertigo leaves a bad taste in my mouth, so oh yeah. They gave you these pulpy things at the end, which I didn't even bother to read because I was too annoyed by that point. Dear President Roosevelt and Brooklyn Boy Missing in War. These could have given me more information about what was going on, though I didn't really need them. I really needed it to be continued at the bottom of the credits page. Oh, you mean the next issue blurb? I just didn't like that they ended it in the middle of a scene without even a to be continued. Yeah, I like the comic. I just don't like the presentation. Why does Vertigo leave a bad taste? To me, all through the 90s, Vertigo was just corporate indie comics. And that's in my head. That's not even necessarily reality, because I did buy a few Vertigo comics that I liked, but I never liked, Sandman was their flagship title, which I never liked. But I have bought some Vertigo over the years, but for some reason I have this weird prejudice against Vertigo comics. Because like I said, in my head, they're corporate indie comics. And
Vertigo
people who I could never get to read, people who I could never get to read an indie comic will brag about reading Vertigo. And I'm just like,
reading Vertigo is like being a fan, of Blur. Blur is not pop music. But if you read Blur, then Damon Albarn creates the Gorillaz, and you start listening to the Gorillaz, and now it doesn't sound like Blur. The thing about Vertigo is you're not supposed to like everything that came out. You pick something,
right?
So
it's in my head. It's not. It's more reflective of me than Vertigo, probably.
Okay.
But they also published a lot of things not to my taste in the 90s because they were trying to imitate Sandman a lot.
Sure.
Why not? It was their hit.
You notice that the fact that they had to absorb Helix gave them allowed them to settle down as a brand. Because at first, Sandman was a success. Let's try to do more Sandman. But then not everything is Sandman. Then let's do something that's not Sandman, but it doesn't sell as well. And then they absorb Helix and let's do science fiction.
Like, I think the last thing I bought from Vertigo, I also bought in trade paperbacks, which was Northlanders. I just ran into them. I was like, I've been meaning to get rid of these. And I might give them to my student. They're good, but I don't know that I have. I forget, Ed Brubaker or somebody wrote them. I can't even remember. And there were tales of the Viking Age kind of thing. And it could skip all over. There was like 6 trade paperbacks I bought of that. So I obviously liked it, but I don't think they were written for the trade. I think I'd be much happier buying a trade paperback of Ezra Kane, which I just ran into that name somewhere else. I can't remember what. I'm like, where does that name come from? I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to have to look, because I saw some other character and some other like TV show or something was also named Ezra Kane. So I don't know if the name comes from somewhere or something. Brian Wood, that's it. That's who wrote Northlanders. Sleepy's got it.
Right. Brubaker did Scene of the Crime. Was that it?
Scene of the Crime was his very first mainstream thing.
Yeah, the last thing from Vertigo I bought was Scalped, which kind of convinced me that Jason Aaron was a good writer. Scalped is a good comic that was written by Jason Aaron, but the rest of his stuff is it's either meh or why is he doing this?
62 says there's a Sutter Keen from the Mouth of Madness. Brubaker did Dead Enders. That's I think I bought about 10 or 12 issues of Dead Enders and just never got into it. I think I gave those to my students last year, though. I found them. I was like,
yeah,
because that was one of those I really expected to like, and I just never caught on to it.
There was a series called Outlaw Nation, which was reprinted outside Vertigo. I don't think that DC were very interested in it after a while because they canceled it in a hurry. But I bought it from Image in the essential format. It was black and white in newsprint. The story was kind of interesting, but I never reread it. and I can't remember exactly what it was about either. The guy dressed as Fidel Castro for some reason.
Yeah, that's my threshold these days for keeping stuff. Do I want to reread that? And I was just walking by some stuff going, "Ooh, I'd like to reread that. Ooh, I'd like to reread that. Ooh," so that means I want to keep it. I'd like to reread that.
Next book I picked up was Thundercats and Silverhawks, Prelude to Road to War. This crossover between the Thundercats and the Silverhawks, which was the same art studio that did the cartoons, and there was hints that they took place in the same universe in the cartoons, but they never had a true crossover. But they're now doing one in comic book form.
Thundercats and Silverhawks sounds like some title to an old-timey song. Thundercats and Silverhawks walking down the street they talk. Thundercats. I don't know the lyrics, but have some swing, some Sinatra swing to it. Thundercats and Silverhawks.
That has nothing to do with either the Thundercats or the Silverhawks.
No,
not
just the
at
word.
all. Not at all. It just
No.
sounds like it's the jazz blues from the early 30s. You know, it was about rival gangs in New York. That's what that sounds like when you put the names together.
But there are gangs who danced to work out their problems.
What I'm liking on this cover, by the way, is that this is issue 1 that has a sneak peek of issue 1 inside. So I am not sure if we have actual artwork that's doubled in here, or is it maybe a sneak peek to issue 2? Because as I'm flipping through it, it looks like there's a solid story in here. And then at the end, there's another story, or at least another part to it. And I think this is the sneak peek that says, okay, so the regular story says it continues in Thundercats and Silverhawks #1. And then it has a preview to the sneak peek, which continues in issue 1.
What issue is this?
So I guess this was probably supposed to be in issue 0, or since this says Road to War, it can be considered in issue 1.
Thundercats, Silverhawks, Road to War.
Right.
I like how many times do they need the logos on that cover? Especially since neither of them is, both of them are supposed to stretch all the way across the cover, but don't. And have that complex chrome coloring, which doesn't read at all when they're that small.
Exactly. The whole cover has a kind of a slick look to it. And this is the only one, because they had multiple covers, but this was the only one that wasn't as damaged, because the other ones had like metal foil. We're looking at 4, 8, 13, 23 covers for this particular one. There's only a handful of artwork, but it's repeated quite a few times. And I'm thinking
Tiger Shark should cross over with that book as
that's
well.
part of that universe, and those were hinted, so who knows? And it looks like there's also another book that's going to be called Thunderhawks. So these might be the Silverhawks that was on Thundera. I'm going to guess that's what they're actually going for in this storyline.
Will there be any Silvercats?
That would be a great name, but no.
I'm a shark and you're a cat.
There.
Thunder.
I'm a shark, you're a cat.
Lady said, suddenly Jared seems much older. Hold on, let me put on my grandfather's hat. Thundercats and Silverhawks You're a cat and I'm a shark. Yeah.
Swing that groovy beat, baby.
Right.
You're a cool cat.
Yep, that was an age in the 1930s that ran for a year.
When
But they don't talk
you're
about
a jet, you're a jet all the
it.
way. By the time I look at everything on the cover, I'll be dead.
So I picked that up because of the fun of it. And you know,
Yeah.
guys, I love a crossover. What else did I pick up? Absolute Batman issue number 18. No idea what's going on in this book, but looks like they're introducing a whole slew of new characters or villains anyway.
That's because that's what this series is all about.
Making Batman a little different. Oh, look, more coins.
I finally read that interview with the creators of that in the Comics Mag. It was pretty good. I like one of them said, we finally decided to treat it like an indie book. We'll treat Batman as an indie book. That's why they came up with such crazy ideas for it. Jared needs shorter hair to pull that hat off. When I'm wearing that hat and my sport coat in the supermarket, I get told I look like Kid Rock so much. But it has to be the right coat. We look like Kid Rock.
I'm sorry. No need to insult me. I'm just trying to buy eggs.
Not eggs, prunes.
Here's a comic I really liked this week. We have got ourselves Butch, a Hate comic. So Peter Bagg.
Oh, okay.
This is like a new issue of Hate, except it's with, well, there's Buddy Bradley, his younger brother, Butch Bradley. And it's basically about, the whole thing is about what a maniac loser Butch is. So it's more Peter Bagg stuff, and, you know, I love Peter Bagg stuff. I don't want to give away too much about what happens in it, but there's a bit of a crazy ending to it. And, you know, feels nice too. One of these comics with a really nice, smooth cardstock cover. I like comics that feel like that. $6, very well worth it. You know what's funny? I just looked up on my shelf like earlier this week, and I saw because I think it was last year he did the Hate Revisited series, which I think was a 5-issue mini, which I bought, the 5-issue mini. But I also looked on the shelf and saw the trade paperback. I'm like, ooh, I must have got this real fast. Because usually I like the individual issues plus the collected editions I've got. Being that Hate is one of my favorite, I've got it in lots of different forms. But I didn't even remember betting the trade paperback for Hate Revisited. But sure enough, it's on my shelf. I could have got it for a birthday. Kid Rock currently or Kid Rock 2000? I believe Kid Rock currently. Because he looks a lot older nowadays, and so do I. What's on Paolo's shelf behind him?
Everything.
All sorts of comics.
Yeah.
Pull out your favorite that you want to show us.
My favorite that I want to show. How about everything? I don't know. What do we got here?
Pick something.
Let's pick something. Why not? Here's Superman and Batman Generations, an imaginary story.
Not a hoax, not a dream, just an imaginary story.
And John Byrne.
Oh, yeah.
Blonde Superman?
What else? No. Silver-haired Superman. What else we have here?
Sleepy Says the Infinite Shelf of Paolo?
The Infinite Shelf. That's right. What else do we have here? Uncanny X-Men, The Rise and Fall of the Shi'ar Empire, which is Brubaker writing X-Men.
Oh.
It's actually a good story. It's not what you expect. And Havoc and Polaris are the main heroes, and Vulcan is the villain.
Speaking of X-Men, I almost picked up the reprint of What If Phoenix Had Lived.
Oh yeah,
That was out on the
Nice.
shelf, and it was like, ooh, I liked that one. That was
I
a
looked at
John
that one.
Byrne. I
I
looked at it, it's like, but I have the original, and I
so
think
do
I
I.
also have a reprint at some point. I'm like, do I need it again? And it was like,
I
it's
thought the
very,
same thing.
very tempting.
I'm like, I know I have the first printing of this. Must be in with my X-Men, but this printing is so nice and shiny and bright.
Yeah. And it's like, and I
I
know
get
I
it.
have at least 2 other printings of it somewhere. And so it's like, ooh, do I pick it up just to get it, or do I just let it go? And it's like, okay, I'll let it go and get something else. So it's like, but some of those facsimiles, you look at it and go, ooh, oh, I have this. You know?
When Paolo just mentioned the Shi'ar Empire, it never struck me before. Where I was like, is that supposed to be a takeoff on the Shire? I don't think it is, but
No,
I don't know why it just struck me as Paolo said it.
I
No.
don't think so.
I don't think so either. I see no
Yeah.
resemblance, but they kind of sound the same, Shi'ar and Shire.
Right.
But and that's one of the words, one of those like everyone I know always says Shi'ar. I've never heard anyone officially say that's the pronunciation, but that's how we all pronounce it.
Yeah, that's how I always pronounce it,
That's
and
how I've heard
sometimes,
everyone pronounce it.
or
But-
Xia, like saying it like that, but that's about it.
Sha.
Xia.
Although what I've been reading is different, is a little bit different. So I was reading Caravaggio
Caravaggio.
by Milo Manara.
Oh, I almost ordered that one, but forgot. Did I order it? No, I thought about ordering it. Never quite did. That's by Fantagraphics, right?
This is the Portuguese edition. This is
Okay.
This
So
is Italian.
Fantagraphics is just reprint, but they may have is there 2 volumes of it?
There is 2 volumes of it.
Okay.
This is volume 2.
All right. I think Fantagraphics was just reprinting those.
Yeah, there's only 2 volumes because, spoiler alert, the Renaissance painter dies at the end of his own biopic.
Spoilers.
Don't we all?
Don't we all?
And here's the funny thing: you guys being trained in art, do you like classic painters?
Mm-hmm.
I
like classic painters.
Yeah,
that's why I almost bought it, but it was a little expensive, I think. So I figured I'd wait and see if it was cheaper on Amazon. Werewolf by Lunchtime says, I pronounce it Shi'ar, but I'm English. Shi'ar. Hey, with the Shi'ar.
Yeah.
That even sounds more like Shire.
Yeah, that does.
One thing I liked about this book is that Manara reproduces some of the actual paintings. Let's see if I can see one here. Oh, here we go. Where was it?
No, sometimes it's tough to get it to line up with the camera.
No, wait. Yeah, there they go.
Oh, look at that. Huh.
Because Caravaggio was like he was ultra realist, and he was the one who brought the dark into the chiaroscuro. He brought the oscuro to the chiaroscuro.
Huh.
The thing is, so this is not exactly a correct biography. Manara does take a few liberties with the characters, even those that are based on real people. But there's a bit of a romanticized version because he keeps picking fights with everyone, but
they need some conflict.
Yeah, but Manara makes him look like a good guy. It just happens that in real life, he just picked fights with everyone over everything, and he got his behavior got increasingly erratic as he got older. That's why he was on the run in the last 3 years of his life. and they think he suffered from a slow lead poisoning because of the paint.
Lead white.
Yeah, lead, white, and wasn't there something with blue paint
Oh,
for a while that wasn't great either? I
there's been
forget.
lots of stuff with lots of
Yeah,
cobalt blue.
Cobalt blue it is. Yeah, I remember that being something as well.
Yeah, this is the biggest painting he did, which is the one he did for the Knights Hospitalier of Malta. Let's see if I can. Pretty good, huh? So Menard.
He's all right.
The thing is, even though Menard has a reputation for
he won't do
drawings,
comics, that's for sure.
Yeah, he has a reputation for doing naked women, but and we do have a few here, but there's very little actual erotic compared to other books he's done.
Right.
Because
Sleepy says, I loved Goya and Caravaggio. Comics led me to many of the classic artists.
Yeah, and I checked in the Grand Comics database. Apparently, Richard Corbin cites Caravaggio as an influence.
That just reminded me of a classic bullpen conversation we had once, where John Babcock tried to convince us unsuccessfully that Michelangelo was a better, I mean, Michael Golden was a better artist than Michelangelo. And we all love Michael Golden's art. But his whole point was that Michael Golden had to draw a greater variety of things.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't know how true that was either, but Michael Golden didn't appreciate that either.
He said, I'm much better than those Ninja Turtles. Yeah, they should have made Caravaggio a Ninja Turtle as well. How does this guy look as a Ninja Turtle?
What would his weapon be? Short swords? No.
Here's the thing: Leonardo was already the swordsman, and
yeah,
that's what Caravaggio was good at.
Huh. Here's a little cute something I got this week: a new Bitty Pop. But this one is.
Oh, that's neat. I saw one, but I that it, had the video game piece, but I forgot the character that it had.
Yeah, they have a few. They have different. And if there's like little digitizedness on them too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's very cool. Yeah.
And he also comes with a regular thing, and then there's a slide in the back.
That's actually pretty neat.
So he slides in there, and then you can put that right down there.
Ah, nice storage too. That's actually really neat.
So this one is pretty well done.
Yeah,
I gotta say, I'm happy with it.
That's what I did with Optimus Prime's hands. When he was transformed into the truck, you'd put the hands inside the cabin.
Yeah.
Only like $6 or $7. I can't remember which. So not too expensive. But a little arcade Wolverine.
That's really neat.
Michelangelo took much longer with each piece. Yeah, it's hard to exactly. Da Vinci took roughly 15 years or so on the Mona Lisa, I believe. Yeah, I think that one was around his studio for a long time.
Yeah, and with Michelangelo, what Michelangelo did is
a screw up too.
He probably was too busy trying to invent helicopters. But Michelangelo didn't even paint the stuff. He just like, you paint this and you paint that, and you better do it the way I like.
Yeah, the Pope had to send the army after Michelangelo to paint the
Yeah, and Caravaggio, and they make a habit of mentioning it in the story. He didn't do sketches before he started painting, so he was extremely fast.
And it was Da Vinci's father who kept lining him up with jobs, because Da Vinci was one of those people who didn't care about jobs. He just wanted to do what he wanted to do, paint and dissect things and do whatever, go wherever his curiosity
And he
led
never,
him.
he didn't really finish most of his. He would
Yeah.
start stuff and not finish it, and again,
And his
and
father would have to get him jobs that he wouldn't finish.
and he was lucky. A lot of his stuff was kind of put away and forgotten about,
Yeah.
and then rediscovered, because again, he's more of in the sense of we only know about him now because it was like a recent find. I mean, in the scheme of history, his
Yeah.
stuff was recently found to even exist. So it's like it's hard to compare because each
Mhm.
one had their own thing.
Sleepy says, Da Vinci, the slacker hero. Yeah, that's what he was. He was
Yeah.
definitely a slacker. No doubt about it. Let's see, what else did I get this week? Oh, how is CGC going to grade this? It's one of these comics that's meant to look old. It's even got a fake rusty staple. Making fun of a meme of falling in love with a machine. Will she ever truly be capable of loving me back? Installing required updates. System must be restarted in order to finish update. Do not unplug in unit. Making fun of a meme. And of course, I originally was buying these because of the 2-page Dean Haspiel story in the back. But I gotta say, I'm enjoying the comic, even though the art is mediocre. The storytelling is pretty. I should say the drawing is mediocre. Storytelling itself is pretty good. And it's mostly it's the story of a company that's trying to make a sex doll. An AI run sex doll kind of thing. And it's mostly an office comedy drama. Oh, there was a great line in this before. Where was it? Where the big, there's all sorts of politics going on between the bosses, and the big boss wants the doll out right now, on time, on schedule, and everyone's like, it's got so many bugs, we can't release it. And he's like, no, you're releasing it. But there's one line he comes in here and says, the boss says to the woman who's underneath him, I didn't decide. She says, I didn't decide to take a few days off. I was sick. And he says back, oh, really? Did you see a doctor? Or was it just that time of the month? And she's like, excuse me? The other woman's like, Rick, that's totally inappropriate. And he's like, I'm so sorry. I must have fallen asleep during my sensitivity training. And the other woman's like, you should have stayed awake. That was blatant sexual harassment, and everyone heard it. Then the other guy says, you can't have sexual harassment at a company that makes sex robots. What? Why not? We're supposed to talk about sex, man. That's our job. So I was like, there's funny moments in it like that too, and like I said, I'm enjoying it more than I thought I would, being that I was just buying it for the Dean Haspiel pages. But it's been an enjoyable sort of, and there's just nothing like it too. It's like that. Often I like things when they're different too, and that's really different.
Right.
I wish we knew more about Hieronymus Bosch, and he doesn't mean the TV show detective.
Easy paintings there.
The Garden of Earthly Delights.
So going back to Sticker Shock. It's a one shot from Godzilla. So these are Godzilla has been invading America. So this one is Godzilla in Portland. So it's Godzilla versus America. And he's in Portland, and that's all I could tell you about it because I know nothing else about this book because I haven't flipped through it. And other than that, it's $7.99, so it's at least $1 less than that Superman. I mean, the Superman Batman book. But let's open up some pages.
$1 more than Green Lantern and $1 less than Superman Spider-Man.
Here's
Sleepy was just doing a review of that on his channel. I saw.
Oh, was he?
He was. It wasn't Portland enough for him. He's from Portland.
I do wonder how local these books are.
Because part of his critique was he
I
really
do like
liked
the
the
artwork.
Boston one. That felt Boston to him. But I don't know how much time he spent in Boston. But the Portland one didn't seem Portland enough somehow. He knew the stores they were supposed to be, but they changed the names of them. Did you get the New York one?
I don't recall if I did.
Make a New York one? Was that the first?
I know the next one is Texas.
Sleepy
But,
says I was not impressed by Godzilla in Portland, to be honest.
There are 4 of them, and they were listed in the IDW catalog because they are being reprinted in, I think, a hardcover edition.
Right.
I will be impressed if they do a Godzilla Destroys Lincoln, Nebraska. The least likely location for Godzilla to stop.
From a town known as Lincoln, Nebraska, sawed off 410 in my hand. Good album by The Boss. That might be the last Bruce Springsteen album I ever bought, and my favorite.
So Godzilla has attacked. I don't think this is in any particular order, but it's Boston, Chicago, Los Angeles, and Kansas City.
Okay,
so he has not made it to New York yet.
Yep. Sleepy says it comes down to better storytelling in the Boston one.
And then up next, Texas.
Texas. That's a whole state. It'll take them days to get across
Texas.
It,
yeah. It'll have to be a 12-issue miniseries.
It could be on its own.
Yeah, Texas. I mean, they could have picked Houston or Dallas. Why did they just go with Texas? Texas is gigantic.
I don't know. I don't know why they're picking some cities and then some states.
Yeah.
You know, is Rhode Island going to be like a 2-issue series?
But you can get. I've heard people say I can leave who live in Texas say I can leave my house, drive for 11 hours, and I'll still be in Texas. That's how big Texas is.
I am liking the art in here. That's for sure.
Okay.
This looks like different chapters, different stories. So the artwork is very here and there, very indie.
Let's see. Oh, yeah.
You got some like that where you also have artwork like this a few pages later. So it does have a bunch of different types of styles to it. Yeah, I'm liking it. So visually, I'm enjoying it. We'll see how the story
You may never read it.
May never read it, and I know very little to nothing of Portland, so it may be okay for me, story-wise.
I've watched all of Portlandia. That's what I know about.
I watched some of it. It was like it's you could watch it and go, okay, all right. I don't get it like other people did, but it was like, all right, this was
Put
interesting.
A bird on it. Put a bird on it. Put a bird on it. Have you ever seen Portlandia, Paolo?
No, I don't even know what that is.
It's a TV show. It's a comedy with God, I can't even remember the names. They're both from Saturday Night Live. They've been in a million things.
Fred Armisen.
Fred Armistead, and
I don't recall the name of the other person.
It's like a skit show where they just like it's all about Portland and how weird it is. And, you know, 1 half-hour show can have half a dozen little shows within that show, little skits where they're playing all these weird characters. And they have some recurring characters and some not. And one of those skits just cracks me up. It's Put a Bird on It. It's a little store that puts birds on things. Put a bird on it. Put a bird on it.
I've seen Fred Armisen around. Fred Armisen.
Yeah, he's been on a ton of stuff.
He's not funny. Who the hell? Why do people think he's funny?
The woman was from a band too.
Huh.
In the 90s. Mm-hmm.
And
is
then
he more or less funny than Ben Stiller?
I think it's a different humor.
Yes, I'd put him about the same.
Because Ben Stiller is one of the unfunniest comedians I've ever seen.
I like Ben Stiller. He's not a comedian. He's a comedic actor.
No, he's not.
I love Zoolander. The gasoline fight and Zoolander cracks me up to this day. Slater-Kinney, that's the band the woman was in. Then they died in a freak gasoline fight accident. What was the song that was playing down there? Jitterbug, was it that one? As the male models were having gasoline fights at the gas station by spraying each other with the hoses before everything blew up and they all died except Zoolander. I think it was then fist fight over Ben Stiller. Uh-oh. Dodgeball was good. Ben Stiller and Jack Black's motorcycle pilot is great. Make the bright sunshine brighter than Doris Day as they're spraying each other with gasoline. That was at the beginning. That was the first movie that iMovie made a hit, strangely enough.
Really?
Another comic I got, one I've been enjoying, Spirit of the Shadows, issue number 3. And strangely enough, the artist of it, Nick Cagnetti, for some reason has been showing up in my Facebook people you might know feed. I'm like, why? I'm not sure. But the artwork is very Steve Ditko, Jack Kirby influenced in this mystical story about a witch. And the lead character here, who is this guy with the hat, was brought back to life by the witch because she wants to kill him. And there was a mad scientist too. I just like the artwork. Story's fun, but the artwork really draws me in.
I think maybe a reprint of issue 1 was out on the stand.
Could be a second printing. Oni Press, I think. Carl Bowlers is our editor of this, friend of the show. I'll have to get him on one night. We used to work with him at Marvel. I worked with him at Bad Idea. I don't know if he's ever seen our show. Uh-oh, we've got controversy over also Heath Vision and Jack on YouTube. I've never watched a Ben Stiller movie apart from Mystery Men. Dodgeball is good. I find John Black to be painfully unfunny, attention whore. Well,
yes.
They're actors.
Isn't that everybody?
The thing about Jack
Mystery
Black
Men is better with each rewatch. I want to rewatch that one. I think I only saw it once and kind of didn't make an impression on me. But
Jack Black is insufferable when he's the main character. When he's not the main character, he does good. He does good jobs.
I'm okay with Jack Black. I like him.
Yeah, I'm fine.
But comedy's tough to predict for different people. Some people find some people. But when you call a comedian an attention whore, I'm just like, duh, that's their job. Oh, Jack Black's a comedic actor, not a comedian.
Mm-hmm. It's very simple. If the movie's PG, it cannot be funny.
Then you, my friend, have never seen. I'm trying to think.
You never watched Goonies
comedy right now.
Goonies.
If I had a PG comedy ready right now, I'd have you, but I don't.
I could probably cut 20 minutes off of Goonies, and it'll be a better film.
Goonies? I'm too old for Goonies. Everybody, mono thinking makes even binary thinking look complicated. All right. I'm not quite sure what he meant by that. LOL.
Then I picked up these are now we're into the books that were part of my poll list. So is it pronounced Kato 84? This is the Dark Horse book.
Kaito. I don't know what an accent over an O means.
It makes the O longer, so it will be pronounced Kaito.
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 Kaito
Yeah, that's one that's
84.
like, I just, wasn't interested in Usagi without Stan Sakai. So I think that was
Yeah.
supposed to be a tie-in for the cartoon that somehow never happened, which I
Yeah,
thought was
maybe.
done, but then got canceled.
I know there was a cartoon released. But I don't
Was
think
it
it was
released?
this
I
one.
thought it wasn't released.
There was a cartoon released. Because I remember
Oh, I thought it was
watching.
supposed to be like a series that takes but it was like an Usagi cartoon, but took place in the current time or something, or the future. And it was in Usagi's, much like this one is. And I just,
Right. So I picked this one up. I'm really liking the cover, and I may pick up the rest of the series. I agree with you that I would rather the series be by Stan, but because of the designs and the artwork in it is winning me, and I'm liking these other covers that have a very 80s look to them.
ah.
And I thought that was kind of neat, especially that last one that's very Miami Vice. So looking forward to that. What else we have in my
Let's see.
bag?
Captain Finity's explaining himself. You said everybody is an attention whore. Well, when I meant everybody, I meant actors and comedians. That's mono thinking. I count Seville Leving as wanting attention. Jack Black is annoying and holding the line. I'm saying they're all attention whores in that they're literally paid to hold your attention. If an actor or a comedian cannot hold your attention, they will not be one for very long.
Yeah, you'll
Doesn't
never make it
matter
in the
how
movie
you
business.
judge them. That's what they're there to do.
Yeah. If you don't draw attention to yourself, you'll never make it in the movie business.
Yeah, and if you don't hold the audience's attention, you won't make it in the movie business. That's what I mean. When I hear people call performers attention whores, I'm like, that's the job.
Mhm.
That's
Right.
the job
That's
description.
That's how they make their money. They got
Yeah.
to be out there.
No,
Sleepy says there
there's
was a
a
sci-fi cartoon released. I found it unwatchable. What was that, Paolo?
there's a level of attention whoring that just makes everything you do unbearable, which is which is at a Steven Seagal level. So Steven Seagal
Seagal, you mean?
is Steven Seagal. Oh yeah, Steven Seagal.
Yeah,
It's George
we
Seagal.
pronounce it Seagal.
Yeah, Steven Seagal.
I'm just making sure.
He does.
I
Steven
got the right
Seagal
guy.
does not act. He plays Steven Seagal, and Steven Seagal himself is annoying. Now,
I'm not saying you don't have to find him, and you'll have to find him. I'm just saying that, like the
no, Steven. I don't think anybody likes working with Steven Seagal.
yeah.
Yeah, he's a character. He created a character and he stayed that character, and he's not a likable character.
But I don't know if him being an attention whore has anything to do with him not being likable. I just think he's nutty. It could be. I don't know.
He's a guy who becomes famous for being famous instead of any quality over the work he's produced.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll notice that he takes himself too seriously without reason because he declined appearing in The Expendables.
Straw man argument, very weak sauce, Jared. Of course, I support actors getting my attention. Jack Black is unbearably unsubtle about it.
Yeah, unbearably unsubtle. That's a good description. Yeah,
that doesn't mean
it's the same thing with Steven Seagal. He's unbearably unsubtle.
I think you're giving us a little weak sauce yourself when you're agreeing with me, and then saying something different. Of course, I support actors getting attention. Then why are you calling them attention whores? That's called agreeing with me and then telling me I have a weak argument. I don't know about that. But you can not like Jack Black. That's okay. I think he's all right. What else were you showing us, Wilson?
So my next book that I got from the shop is Gotcha Man issue number 16. An all right cover. It doesn't blow me away. It's the main villain, but it's like, okay. The interior, I don't know if this is one of Chris's interiors, It is not. So must be one of the off months when Chris isn't doing the interiors, because he puts so much into his art on the other books. I could see him having to take a break. So I have no idea what's going on, other than they do introduce a junior member
You
of
know, if you
characters.
read the comic,
I know I
you
should
might
really
have
do
an
that.
idea of what's going on.
Gotta start reading them before the show instead of on the weekends.
Well, if you go on Friday, it's not easy to read.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
thing. That's why I always try for Wednesday, but it doesn't happen. Transformers issue number 30, an issue that has a lot of people in an uproar, because I believe this is the issue where Alita 1 becomes Alita Prime. So she receives the Matrix from Prime.
So she becomes extra sexy?
I think so. So she becomes like the new leader of the Autobots, and she blames the Autobots on Earth for a lot of the problems with the war, even though they were buried under the mountain for 4 million years. But she's angry.
With the Decepticon stop leader, you think that with Megatron out of the way, the rest of the Autobots would have an easier victory?
You would think so, but I believe there are more Decepticons than Autobots. So that was the other problem of the numbers of the how many they are. Alita Prime is what she's called now. Like here's the page that people have been talking about.
So Optimus has a fight with his girlfriend, and to shut her up, he just gives her his job.
Gives her the Matrix, so he gives her jewelry. if you want to go in that direction.
Does she have the shapeliest thighs of any Transformer?
Maybe. I mean, I got to see how RC is doing, but there you go. And then I think Prime reverts back to
Orion Pex.
Not Prime. No, he doesn't go back to Orion. I mean, he looks a little like Orion, but he's going by Prime now. So
that's
or
right.
Optimus. He's going by Optimus.
Okay.
So
right.
it is the kind of a look of Orion, but not exactly.
Mm-hmm. Right. I remember in the cartoon when he came back, Rodimus gave him the Matrix, and he went back to Hot Rod. But when Optimus was without the Matrix, he was still Optimus.
Right, which makes sense because technically, when in the cartoon Orion Pax got damaged, and he was rebuilt into Optimus Prime or into Optimus, and then he got the Matrix. So there was no change because he was built to hold the Matrix. So that's why that works that way. This universe might be slightly different.
Yeah, sure, it'll be.
Because comics.
Well, you know, in the original Marvel comic, Shockwave was a lot more menacing than he was in the cartoon.
Oh yeah, the comics was technically his own history, and then the European comics was also their own little history. So there's slight changes in all of them.
But Simon Furman had to do one thing, because he did try to follow the continuity of the US, but then he started doing his own stories, and then the US comic would contradict him, and he would have to come up with an explanation. I guess that's why I started using the post movie continuity, because if it's set in the future, that you won't be bothered.
Yeah.
Let me walk you through a few of my regulars. A new issue of Feral, which is brand new arc, Silent Interlude. So we've got all our dogs and cats were captured, and so this is the beginning of a new story arc when they have to try to escape from captivity. And it was well done, but there's not much to say about it. It was a well done silent issue. Then the latest issue of Department of Truth is a fill-in. I don't know if it's going to be an art. Ben Templesmith is doing the artwork on this issue. And this is the one where there's all sorts of there's some nice butt crack for you. Where if enough people believe a conspiracy, it becomes true. So this is just an arc about sort of delving into some of the past of the Department of Truth. It was a nice issue, but I missed what's his name? Martin Simmons, the regular artist. And then we got an issue of World Tree, number 19. And this one had a pretty shocking ending. We'll have to see if someone dies in it or not. But this is the one that there's something underneath the internet called the Undernet that's taking over. And they're trying to stop it from taking over. But then they flash forward into the future where it had already taken over. Now we're back in the past when they're trying to stop it. So it's like, will they be able to? It's like, they already showed us they couldn't stop it. How come we're back? I don't know. But it's a good series. Good stuff. All three of these are my regulars. Don't have a ton to say about them, except they're good stuff. The sun has riz, the sun has set, and I ain't out of Texas yet. She must be on the 11 hours. Hello there. Mm-hmm.
The books I have from the pile that I haven't finished up is Starship Godzilla. This is where they take Space Godzilla. I mean, he's fighting Mecha. Space Godzilla. So they take Mecha Godzilla, makes him a spaceship. On the cover, he's fighting Space Godzilla. Pages on the inside. Take a look at. Have Amazing Spider-Man issue number 24, part of the arc called Death Spiral. Cover we have Carnage, and I do not know who this character is, although it looks like Shocker.
Oh yeah, that's Shocker. That's the new Shocker costume. I remember that. Oh, I remember that now because I was watching a TikTok from a young woman whose favorite character is the Shocker, and I'm like, really?
Really? that's somebody. Mark Gruenwald always says every character is somebody's favorite.
The Shocker is in 2026, somebody's favorite character is the Shocker. I found that hard to believe.
We have that, and then so this is issue number 24. And then I also have issue number 25. So within the 3 weeks, I got 2 books. So I don't know if Spider-Man went bi-weekly. I mean, bi-weekly. He's done it a few times. So I don't know, or it's just one of those. It happens in between. I don't know much that's going on here other than Mary Jane is Venom. Trying to find some pages that don't ruin stuff for people that may be reading the series. Then we have a issue of G.I. Joe, issue number 20, and it looks like the Joes finally get to meet Optimus Prime.
Are those two TVs on his chest? Or does that just look like it on that cover?
It just looks like it on the cover, but those are the front of the cab.
Okay.
Those are the windows on the cab.
And it looks like he's got 2 old CRTs on his chest.
I never noticed that, but yeah, he kind of does, especially the way it's colored here. And these are how it's colored in the cartoon.
Yeah.
So it has that kind of look to it. And we have Superman, issue number 36, and it has Superboy on the cover. And then the last book that I picked up is Thundercats, issue number 25. A very nice cover of Chitara.
Pretty portrait.
Very pretty portrait. And it has a sneak preview of Thundercats Silverhawks number 1 in there.
With that digital hair.
Yep.
People are so good at drawing hair like that in digitally. Because you can go light over dark.
Yeah.
It's much harder to do it like that.
And you could set it to, like, each time you put the line down, it's just a little lighter.
Yeah, yeah. It's like one of those things people have gotten real good at.
That's the pile of books.
Captain Infinity is a new explanation for us. Okay, how about I love it when actors and comedians vie for my attention, except for Jack Black, who goes about it in an incredibly unsubtle, garish, and needy way. Much more expressive. I understand that. Though
Very
I still
much
like
so.
that.
That's the stack. Reading.
I guess that's a Carrie Brownstein line. She's the one from Carrie Brownstein is the one from Slater Keeney and Portlandia. There we go.
Oh, okay.
Captain Infinity says trying to stop an inevitable future is usually a sign of a very good or very bad writing. Time Crimes falls into the former category happily. Yeah. Like I said, it's weird that they flashed forward and then back. But I mean, I like it either. It's a good book either way, but it's just a little strange to flash forward and go, oh, it was all a failure. Then flash back and go, oh, we're still trying to stop it. Okay.
And we mentioned it earlier in the show briefly about Sam Keefe passing away.
Mhm.
And it's like, I couldn't find, for some reason, I don't have a trade paperback of the mask of his character, but it's like, oh, I still have his action figure that was made by McFarlane back in the day. So you have him there, and then you have one of the Izzes. And if I remember correctly, many of the toys that was released by McFarlane at the time, some of them came with Izzes of different colors. So different characters would just have an Izz on there, and people would be like searching for the different color Izzes because an Izz would just appear with a random character that had nothing to do with the Izzes, but was part of the McFarlane line.
I was just thinking that Sam Keefe falls into a weird category because for me as an indie guy, he was a little too mainstream for me. But for mainstream fans, he was a little too indie. So he's got that sort of weird category in the middle. Not that he didn't have probably both his fans in mainstream and indie, but he was never sort of like the superstar that like Jim Lee or all those Image guys were. And he kind of, faded away, probably because he got some good TV money, hopefully. And more people know. It always amazes me, even though it shouldn't. I was mentioning this on Tim Howlermouse did a show last weekend, I think it was, on Sam Keefe. And it always amazes me how many people know him from that TV show.
Yeah.
Because to me, he's not particularly famous comic book. I mean, he's famous enough. But more people would go, oh yeah, Sam Keefe, the Max. I know the Max. And I'll be like, what? You know who Sam Keefe is? And it always kind of surprised me that they knew who Sam Keefe was from that, and it's from that TV show. That's where the most people know him from.
Right, and that TV show was very indie in itself.
And I think, and also let me say, I barely knew the TV. I don't think I've ever seen the TV show. I barely knew it existed at the time for whatever reason. I don't usually watch, because it was on like 11 o'clock at night on Adult Swim, and I never watched Adult Swim. So it's not a surprise I never knew about the TV show. But right, it's just always weird to me when it shouldn't. It's always a surprise to me when it shouldn't be a surprise to me. You'd think I'd learn that.
And it fell into that spot for indies having an indie creator having something for himself that was animated on television in an indie spot. And I think that worked for him so well that, as you mentioned, many people had talked about the show as
Yeah,
being one of those things that really influenced them in general to
right.
either become animators or even comic book artists.
A lot of people. Tit Goblin says, in high school, a stoner in my art class made a giant Max clay figure. He put so many little bits and bobs on it, it didn't fire correctly and exploded and took out everyone's final projects.
Oh.
The Max took out everyone's final project.
That, that was the fun part of working with clay. It's like, did everyone listen and really rolled the clay and got all the air bubbles out? Because once this bakes, some things will explode, and not many people believe things would explode until they explode.
I
But they never
actually got
explode when you want them.
I actually got an ash can this week. I think Roy, who must have just thrown it into my pull list, into my bag. On one side is Odin.
I like that ash cans are still being made.
And on the other side is If Destruction Be Our Lot. And this didn't give me nearly enough to judge either of them. Because I liked the splash page. I didn't like the dull bus second page.
Yeah.
And on this one, everybody's a robot in this world. All the humans have died out. And this is an animatronic Abe Lincoln. He's going to be the star of the book. And let's see, who's it by? If Destruction Be Our Lot is by Matthew and Mark Rosenberg. I guess they're the artists, the writers. Andy McDonald, Francesca Segala, and Hassan Atzme Elhau, I think it is. And on this side, we've got written by Marguerite Bennett and James Tinian, art by Litza Cadonici, colors by Jordi Belair, lettered by Tom Napolitano. It seems like half the comics I buy are written by James Tinian, so maybe I'll get Odin. I don't know. Everyone was pissed, but I thought it was cool that the Max killed everything. Makes a great story. I'm sure if my final project was destroyed, I'd be pissed too by the stoner who didn't do it right, but it makes a great story. A great story. What was I about to say? Oh, yeah, there's going to be a Monstrous cartoon.
Really?
I just read that this week. I don't know if it's Prime or Netflix or whatever, but they're making Monstrous into a cartoon. I don't know if it'll get anywhere near the popularity that Invincible has gotten because, matter of fact, I was talking in the comic shop briefly with a kid and his mom. Kid must have been 10 years old, and he was a huge Invincible fan. He was just buying some stuff, and he's an Invincible fan for the cartoon because of the cartoon. And he told me he just got the first compendium, which is the giant Invincible 40-something issues of it. He's like, "Oh, do you watch the cartoon?" I'm like, "No, I don't watch the cartoon, but only because I love it just makes me want to read the comics." He's like, the comics are good. But it's good to see Invincible getting some younger fans there.
Yeah.
And I also liked, once again, I don't know if I mentioned this last week, watching Mercenaut's channel again, and they were talking about, the prices on Invincible are just crazy. It's $2,000 for, Invincible #1.
Wow.
And the one guy, I forget his name, was like, it's not really crazy when you think about. He's like, when I got into comics in whatever year it was in 1980s, Spider-Man in 1983 or whatever was 21 years old. And so the first issue of Spider-Man was worth a lot of money. And now Invincible is 21 years old. So it's not crazy to think the first issue might go for a couple of $1,000s, especially slabbed in a 9.8. That made me go, oh, you know what?
Yeah,
You're right. That's not crazy. It's a 21-year-old issue.
Thanks for making me feel old.
Yeah.
And it's an actual, it makes
Yeah.
sense. It's wild.
But like I said, before the cartoon, no one was interested in Invincible.
Yeah, it was something that came up. It was like, oh, that looks cool. Because I
Yeah.
remember seeing Invincible in the comic book shop.
I bought
And
it
it was
all
like,
in collected editions. I wish
you
I
know,
bought the original issues now. They're worth so much.
yeah, to me, it was like it was one of those things like, oh, it's a popular Image thing, but
Yeah.
it's like I wasn't buying Image anymore. And so for me, it was like, that's neat.
Yeah.
Oh, he's teaming up with Spider-Man. That's cool. But that was it. I just never, I never picked up an issue, and I'm sure I would have enjoyed the heck out of it because I'm enjoying the heck out of the cartoon. So to me, it's like, I've been hemming and hawing back and forth whether or not to pick up, a trade. But again, it's like,
Oh, they're worth it. They're very
yeah,
worth it. They're good stuff. They have those huge compendiums now with lots of.
right.
It was either Chris Russo or Jacob Chabot who got me into it. I think that because I read the early issues at Marvel when it first came out, so I was still there, and but then I ended up buying the first what do they call Ultimate Edition, I think it was, which is the oversized hardcover that has 12 issues. And since I bought the first one in oversized hardcovers, I just buy the new hardcover every year. So that's how I was buying. That's why I don't have all the issues. And I only started buying it at individual issues at like issue 115. I went, you know what? I'm tired of waiting a year. Let me start buying it off the. And like the next month, they were like, Invincible is ending at issue 125 or whatever it was. I was like, hey, I just started buying it. Individual issues. But yeah, it's definitely worth a read if you haven't read it. And that one's got an intro. Have you watched the cartoon at all?
I have. That's what made me a fan of it.
Uh,
And because I was watching the cartoon and enjoying the cartoon, it kind of made me hesitant onto going to read. Because I
Oh.
tend to sometimes, whatever is the incarnation that I enjoy it from,
mhm.
that's the prime. And
Right.
then whenever I branch off of that, it's like, oh, this is not the same. And because I
That's what
would
the
run
co-
into
though I think
that.
they stick pretty close to
And
the comic,
and
I'm told.
and then I find out later watching YouTube videos and stuff like that where they're picking up images right out of the comic. And I
Yeah.
was like, okay, I could see now getting it. And
I've
then when that issue came out today, I looked at it and was like, oh, if they're restarting it, I want to jump from
right.
issue 1. And then, as you mentioned, it's like, but looking through it's like, oh, this is what I just watched.
Yeah.
The difference is that has one more story which would be the next episode. So it's like, oh, I could actually read ahead now. So I could totally see where the connections are, and I like the fact that they are pulling images right out of the comics right
There's
onto it.
there's an
So I
interesting
like that.
story that Kirkman tells about when the comic started too. Because spoilers, we're going to spoil both the comic and the cartoon if you haven't seen the first season. Is Invincible's father turns out to be the main villain in the story. And originally Kirkman said he had that planned for issue 25.
For that to happen.
And I forget who was his editor at Image said, listen, that's a really good twist. You better put it a lot sooner than issue 25 because you might not make it to issue 25. You never know. So that's
Yeah,
that came at like issue 6, I think, at the end
that's
of the first
definitely
trade
a
paperback.
good editorial choice.
Yeah.
Because, who knows what he had planned between that point.
Right.
But again, I think certain things are needed as early as possible because you run the risk of yes, it could be a great slow burn, but if the books aren't making the money, that's
Yeah,
Have
gonna
you
be
been
hard.
reading Battle Beast?
I've been picking up Battle Beast and I've been enjoying it, but I don't recall the last issue I bought because I don't think I have that on my pull list.
Oh,
So I have to
the
double
issue
check.
7 just came out after like a 2 or 3 month break. It
Okay.
just came out last week.
Okay, so that's probably why I haven't seen it in a while because it was taking a break.
You
Battle
saying
Beast
something,
I
Paolo?
enjoyed the look of it.
You saying something,
Uh,
Paolo?
yeah. If he had waited until 20 issue number 25, the story would have been so boring because it would have gotten repetitive. He would be building up to the reveal, but in the meantime,
It'd
it's
just
just
be a
Invincible
regular old superhero book.
superhero comic. Yeah,
Yeah.
Definitely. It would have been the, young superhero learning the ropes comic, which we've
yeah.
all read many times.
Mhm.
So yeah, it was definitely a good suggestion and a good suggestion that he took.
Yeah, very much so. Because it's like, was he planning to kill the superheroes and make it a murder mystery for a long time?
Yeah.
Or would it been like doing it at the same time where they find out who the murderer is
Yeah,
right
who
away?
knows? Who knew? But I watched only like part of the first episode of Invincible, and it made me want to go read the comics. So then I read like 8 volumes of the
I could see that. I could see because after you watch an episode, you kind of want more,
right.
and there's some great jokes in it,
Yeah.
and there's some great
And they
if you
kept the
read,
hyper violence.
they kept the hyperviolence. The jokes are smart superhero jokes,
Yeah.
and then so if you've been reading superheroes for a while, you get that joke kind of a thing, and it's like, oh, and again, surprising stuff. I wasn't
Mhm.
expecting the violence when I first watched it. So it's like, oh, my pearls. You know, it's not superhero stuff. And then it's not superhero stuff. And it's like, oh, interesting. And then, I like that you think it's going down a particular trope. And it's like, no, that's not it. And that's
Yeah.
what I like about it is that you think you're going to get something superhero to a certain degree, and then I don't know, a good clever jokes, I would say.
Mhm. It's well done.
Yes, very much so.
Which I'm trying to think of. I haven't been buying much. I think Battle Beast is the first Kirkman I've bought since Invincible and Walking Dead ended. I tried a few of his other series, but nothing stuck with me. Is he writing the? No, he's not writing Seasons with Paul Azaceta, right? Can't remember who's writing it now. Because he did do Outcast with Paul Azaceta,
Right.
which
I
was pretty
don't
good.
know.
But I can't remember who the writer is on Seasons now. Which is all right. It's all right. Do 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 do. Coming to the end of the line. Is that the Traveling Wilburys I'm singing or attempting to sing?
I do not know. I
Because
don't. I don't know their. I don't know any of their songs.
I only know
Uh,
that one. I think it was played on the radio, and I can picture Roy Orbison in the video. Roy Orbison singing for the lonely.
Season looks like it's written by Rick
Remender.
Remender.
Yeah,
Remender.
Yeah. Okay.
Rick
So
Remender.
it's not Kirkman. I just like I said, I couldn't remember. Rick Remender writes some good stuff. I've enjoyed his stuff here and there. Oblivion song. That the name of the song I was singing? All right. It's all right. Dee 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 dee. Let's check my list this week. I didn't get any new Ms. Tree. I didn't get Hilly Rose or Hepcats. Chaos Moon I finished. And Firefly got a little more to go. This is my 2014 and what we used to do back then and make lists of the series back issues we were going to collect. And it took me 10 years to finish that 2014 list. I'm not quite the back issue collector everybody else was on YouTube. Well, we should wrap it up and let Paolo get to bed.
That's right. I have one more day to acclimate myself to daylight savings time. Also, Portugal is playing Mexico as preparation for the World Cup, and the game is at 1 a.m. here.
Ooh. Okay.
And we'll be on Paolo's channel next week.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Some balloons, of course. Come on, balloons. There we go. Some balloons and confetti. And everybody have a good night out there. We'll catch you next time.
Have a great weekend.
Do